Thanks, Aaron. First of all, thanks to everyone for coming out this evening. It's amazing to see so many faces. I want to say a huge thank you to Aaron, not only for his friendship, but for putting this book out. It means an incredible amount to me. Thanks also everybody who picked up a copy already. That absolutely means the world to me. So thank you so much. And also congratulations to Alice, Annie, Fiona, Lawrence and Martin. It's an absolute pleasure to be sharing this launch with you. So before I kind of get into the poems, what is Waterbearer and why did I write it? Well, kind of as Aaron alluded to there, it's simply it's a book about coming to terms with an abusive and traumatic past, and really kind of understanding its impacts on me, my identity as a father, on my own masculinity, and kind of on my wider family. And it was actually, Aaron said I stepped away from poetry. I did, and it was actually the impacts of this past that stopped me from writing. I've just kind of reached a point where I pretty much had just shut down, wasn't able to really do anything, wasn't able to write, and didn't write for about 8 years. So coming back to writing, it seemed absolutely necessary that I needed to get past this first in order to move forward. But also I wrote it because, I believe that men in particular, need to be more open about their experiences of abuse. We know what happens when they don't, and it doesn't usually end very well. So I wanted to show that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's possible to survive, and to move forwards. And that was kind of my other purpose for writing this. So anyway, on to the poems. And the first one that I'm going to read is called My Daughter's Photograph. Europa, I am obsessed with storms, and you with orbits around my waist. Your face born bright, and me unable to bear the weight of feet so beautifully soft blue. My gravity hasn't failed you yet, young moon. But maybe the size of space, my absorption, my propensity for vastness, the way that I live out here. Did you see me, Europa, through a telescope or the touch of gravity pushing in our lives? Born free, and here I am hoping for revival, that fear won't pull you in, that in absence you might forgive. This process of creation, this mad old way I seem to spin. This next poem is called Dysfunctional Family. It starts with ignition, like when two people fuck. Hot air and gas and dust, a lust like Greek mythology. The look of small moons born into vastness, a feat of astrology. Will you be Jupiter or Mars? The effect of a swung fist on a tilted planet, this wreckage of asteroids crashing the surface of a family. Wilting in a child's eyes, the shift of GNZ11 so far away and frayed as the edges of heaven. Antimatter, the selfishness of Sagittarius, the center, the centaur, why adults can't agree. An immaturity of celestial beings so obsessed with their own mass. The stark violence of a star falling in on itself. We accelerate collapse. Our family photos framed like relative theories, the abject pain of time and space, its absent love and inequality. The way we interpret radio signals. No one looked after me. And the next poem is called Portrait of a Mother. A boy left in the glow. She lay with a man, door open, covered with a sheet. They bathed together. He played downstairs. The television was cruel to him. Get me a knife, she said. Such sharp intention, he sharpened himself. Her willowed arms, blushed cheeks, reddened teeth. It left from his mouth. He called downstairs to damp skin and cramped like a rose. A room without air, without eyes. On hands and knees, she coloured him in. All that flesh, lingerie, breasts, pursed lips, hers to own, and his. Her swollen eye, crab-shelled, a soaking bed, the purple of night. Everyone knew it. The door knew it. No feet on the mat, no knuckles to knock. She hasn't been seen for years. An absent magician's invisible cloak. This next poem is called Cassieopeia. Narcissus, you grow in me, yellowing my love beneath a cage of ribs. A crepe paper dress hides your periance, your truth. I ask you about cannibalism, your stem, your stamen, the taste of it, the way nature eats its young sometimes, sometimes the way nature is disgusted. Narcissus, you sit in Poseidon's chair, so poised, child, so petulant. This family tree like a mirror, petrified like rocks, these roots, and me. Where is memory or care? Tell me about your horticulture, your past pollination as the fate of bees. Or are you just a stung face? Happy to pick off my petals as final butterflies fold themselves over. My constant apologies hung on too late. Let's have a quick sip of the old Pepsi Max. Okay, this next poem is called Fifth from the Sun, Slow Orbit. Ja, pa, I, te, Jupiter, Jupiter. You've got it. Dada, can we play? Just 2 minutes. I'm so far away from you. What is that, Dada, on your skin? It's very red. Can I squeeze it? Don't touch it, Europa, please. I can still see you, Dada. Thick atmosphere, not thin. I'll count to 10, then I'll begin to look again, okay? My book says you're a gas giant. Are you, Dada? Dada, are you bright like Venus? Between us is space. Okay, Dada, are you ready? 33, 34. No, not under the bed, not on the floor. Where is he? Dada, you're not being kind. He must be near. Not in my room, not behind the door. It's my turn now, Daddy, okay? Jupiter says, daughter, I'm 3.5 days away from seeing your face. My wrist is tethered to this fear. How can I let you find me, little Europa, my little moon, if I am never here? This poem's called My Middle Name is James. In the tint, he is reflected. Under eyelids, his Caucasian. My face, the 2 acres where we slaughtered the sheep, now dreaming in a crude pit. Our words on the pile. The thud of a blunt axe, a consonant, a vowel. Damp cork. My forehead, a stiff leather cloth. I hold his violence in a pan with the chipped teeth of a pig. Some economic cuts. I miss him sometimes, but my father is dead and unavailable to explain why he is hiding in my body. Okay, so this next poem, this poem is about my younger sister, who, I mean, all the adults in my family were subject to abuse when we were growing up. But for my sister, she also, someone tried to kill her by holding her head kind of in a underneath the water of a stream. What ended up happening is that she ended up breathing in a load of dirty water, and eventually that gave her fibrosis of the lungs, and she passed away a couple of years ago. And I always felt really guilty that I was so shut off that I was just never able to connect with her properly. And this poem is really my note to her. Sister, he filled you full of leaves. This is not how you left, but how you would leave. I knew you'd have to go, little dandelion. Little dandelion in your little sarcophagus. Hospital hemmed blue, so full of empty bottles. And you'd given up your twilight years. The gulps of a muddy stream had taken them to dream of estuaries in lieu of cruel things, cruel birds. No one else would have cooed but you. Sister, my pockets are full of guilt. I left you. You never left me. Guilt. You were picked by a mother's hand, snapped at the stem, set down in water, lapping at the leaking milk that washed us away from land, that washed me away from you. And the milk on my fingers hung out to dry with the guilt of a spider hanging its silk. The sarcophagus held you, little dandelion, held you on its cushion. My hip bones spoke to the floor, had purple conversations for 3 nights, doors swinging for your life as they came in and out. In the pulpit, my judgment, on my lips, my judgment, near as I whispered, confessed all to your open ear, so maybe they would hear the words falling, floating through the frame. Forgive me. And you, so small in your little Viking boat, would always give more if only you could hear. Please live. Do you hear? Sister, the leaves are in your blood, and now your lungs are trees. My hand on your head. The wind disappeared from the window. It had lingered by your husband, by your bed. I kept looking to the empty street below. So cold. The years paused, passed through the cracks in my fingers. En route to take your place in the sky, you rose up, little dandelion, little pharaoh. Goodbye. You are Egyptian now, sister. You are in the leaves. The trees hold you. Take your leave. The nurses left. The family in the dark had gone. Alarm still spoke. The park across the way was still. Planes stalled, buses stopped. We bulged, ballooned, shrank in our shoes, paused the rain. Ate silence revealed in clouds, carving hieroglyphics into the crowns of ornate building tops. Your name. You're free, little dandelion. You burned brighter than me. You appear from time to time. Christmas letters, a blanket set, a sting like lime squeezed on a tongue. I'd never reply, but if time was south, I'd travel, be better. Maybe pick up the phone, migrate to a place of care and love, and not this empty space, this regret, this dull, bare stone. You were so young, little dandelion, but not alone, sleeping in your little sarcophagus where you fell. I'm sorry. This next poem is called Every Morning There Are Two of Me. I climb into bed, this long flat knife, the way a surgeon reopens a slow wound. There are twice the loosening lights, Alpha Aquarii netted in the orange of a Boeing lamp. Outside, we are ready to be thrown into the long trees as the street holds the hollow sound of rope. The morning questions, a casket lottery. The lies of our rested shapes shepherd away paleness like a crook. This poem is called SelfHelp Manual, written in invisible ink. And then, as if revolving around the sun, he started to spin. Language a lie, spun by two separate lives, one before, one after. He had made it this far. They kept talking to him about nature, its benefits. He thought about a leaf, blown onto the shelf of a high rock into seams with all the others never quite seen or felt between fingers and rubbed into dust. His lungs now thin and unable to accommodate this present air or past. The golden hands of sunlight existing solely to burn skin. How do you meditate when all you do is sit lotus-legged and see the armors just sound released? These must have strategies. Some preparation for transcendence, his previous dependence on horoscopes and zodiacs, his worldly place in the hands of fate, the chime of tincture, no line, no trajectory between what is or has been, and definitions of identity all down to conjunction, excuses for defunct people, benign fun, benign body. What is running but the taste of blood on your tongue, or a heaving in and out? Some need for self-care, a test, and before she left, she talked about the way he ignored himself. Something held within, the knowingness of a peak worn down, beneath water, beneath wind. I've just got a couple left for you. This one is called Something Had to Die So That I Could Live. In the beginning of beautiful death, there were no signs. In fading light, pulled out the twins, one white, one still. Motherly clicks, the wetness of hay, her bleating eyes. Looking, then licked, swung twice and slapped. The man wrapping Aries in a sheet took away the old. By the daffodils set him down, whilst the new danced in the grass like snow for the beautiful dead. And this is my last poem. Thanks so much again, Aaron. Thank you to everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. And this last poem is called Aquarius Looking for Leo. When you meet him, you can undress, join up the asterisms with your nakedness, unpick the seams running groin to chest, let Mars fall out like a heart, the rest fall out as pomegranates aging redness. There will be a time to repurpose, for beauty, to fill yourself with the teeth of a snake, to cultivate birches, absorb Aquila. Bearer, there can be water when you have found what can be poured from you. Aquarius. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.